Good. All right. Hi, everybody. Um, Before we start, I just want to apologize to everybody. I know it's raining, but I apologize. I thank you all for coming tonight. Um, I really do appreciate it. Okay. Having said that, this is a regular meeting of the Allendale Land Use Board at which formal action will be taken on the items listed on the agenda and upon any other matters which may properly come before the Land Use Board. The requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied through posting on the public bulletin board and in the municipal building and in the borough website and by publication in the record on January 13th, 2025, with copies being sent to the Ridgewood News and the Herald News. Certain agenda items will be open to the public for comment and/or testimony. The board will advise the public as to when such matters are open for their comment and/or testimony. If you guys could all join me, please, for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Linda, please.
Vice Chairwoman Bergen. Here. Board Member Wolzala.
Here.
Board Member Petrino.
Here.
Board Member Gugliaro and Councilman, Board Member Gugliaro is absent. Councilman Yacarino.
Here.
Board Member Dallo.
Here.
Chairman Sirico.
Here.
Mayor Wazinski is absent. Board Member Butler.
Here.
And alternate Conti is absent also.
Okay. Let the record show that Mr. Reeland and Mr. Snikes are not here. And council.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Via, what do you want, Zoom or whatever you're on? Okay.
He's
I
on.
think it's Zoom format. Yeah.
Okay. So, council, we're good with all this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to go through the three resolutions that were passed last meeting. Okay. The first one is application file number 2025-03, resolution number 25-17, Billmar Properties, 240 West Crescent Avenue, block 1005, lot 2. The application is construction of an addition to the existing building, resulting in a side yard setback situation. Council?
Yes, sir. So this was, in a sense, a forgiveness application for development that was permitted and approved back in 2018 and 2019 for a one-story non-residential addition to an existing commercial structure. The applicant appeared and filed the application because it was constructed and deviated from the terms of the prior approval. It was picked up in the as-built conditions, and the delta was about 2.7 feet, 2.61 feet, to be specific, of the setback nonconformance. 50 feet was required and granted, 47.39 was built. The applicant essentially qualified this as being a scrivener's error, and put the record forth before the board at the last public meeting as to why this should be approved in its now existing and built condition. The board voted to approve unanimously. The conditions of approval were relatively limited. It included compliance with Mr. Vreeland's April 18, 2025 report, and specifically to extend the buffer adjacent to the existing building, a prohibition of parallel parking between the building and the curb line, establishing a no parking area along the curb, because that was an issue that was raised in the meeting, and as-built issue as well, to eliminate the first stripe parallel parking space, to implement a no parking area in the corner of what is a designated employee parking area, to remove existing parking space at the front of the building corner, and to develop the site parking area in comport with the terms of the prior approval. Some of the field conditions were noted as deviating from the prior approval upon Mr. Vreeland's inspection, so we captured that. Requirement to submit an updated as-built as well. Further, the applicant has to install bollards on site. It's going to be spaced and located to the satisfaction of the board engineer and will be under Mr. Vreeland's purview and review. There was an additional requirement that the borough fire official has an opportunity to review and comment for site access and circulation suitability. And beyond that, the standard conditions all apply, as well as all the carry forward conditions of the prior approval that were not specifically modified by these terms will continue to apply to the applicant moving forward in their as-built condition.
Great, thank you, sir. Is there any discussion, please, on this resolution and everything that we just heard? And anything that, I think council captured everything. However, anybody have any comments?
I have one.
Okay.
Larry, if this is, I have one. So I was on, for this application, I called in, I was on actually Zoom. That I was sick that night, but, I got a chance to go to the property, actually to pick up my son at that baseball facility. And I know it'll probably be picked up during the fire officials inspection, but I really want to emphasize that it seems that on the adjacent curb, so the northerly curb between the building that was constructed.
The veil.
Yeah,
The
yeah, right in between them, that adjacent curb that identifies and delineates the property, it seems that the landscaping company that's there uses it to store, it seems like trucks that maybe they're not using, snow plows, trailers, etc. And when you back out of those spaces, I just want to make sure that when they do restripe it, that they don't continue to store possibly vehicles, just use it as outdoor storage, because it makes it really, it's a safety issue when you're going in and out of there. And I guess that facility runs until about 10 o'clock at night. So it does get pretty dark on that side of the building. And it was just, it happened to be a night that was raining.
Yeah.
And you get out of there and you don't know if you're going to hit the trailer that's, low to the ground, or a snow plow that's just stored on that curb line.
So if they weren't granted outdoor storage of vehicles, registered vehicles, but not in use for a third party user, if that wasn't part of their initial site plan grant going back 6 years, it becomes an enforcement issue, and that could be removed from the property today, as opposed to a compliance review once they implement the new striping and the curbing and the bollards, saying, well, you got to relocate them. That could be something that is addressed here and now, Frank. And the borough should look into that, because if it wasn't part of the underlying approved plan, and I could speak to Mike Vreeland about that, and then we could speak to zoning, that's a condition that's essentially never permitted on our site plan by the board and should be undone immediately.
Yeah, I'm not looking, like I said, I'm really not looking to make it difficult on anybody.
No, I understand. Yeah,
It was,
I get it.
just going in and out of there, it was pretty difficult. And if it was difficult for me, I'm sure it'd be difficult for just about anybody.
So what I'll do is I'll make a note. I'll talk to Mike Vreeland about this, because ultimately he gets the final field review and the inspection and the as-built. And if the as-built, it only call out structures, but it should call out areas of storage. I'll tell Mike of this condition, and I'll make sure that this is part of his field review once he goes out and performs the as-built review in the field after the updated survey is presented to him and the striping's all done, and he'll make sure that there's no conflicts out there.
Yeah, I mean, and the chairman brought up a good point. The striping probably hasn't been done because they've been waiting for this approval. And so maybe once the striping is done and it's hashed in a yellow no parking, maybe at that point it would be an issue. So it may not be an issue, but as it is right now, it's pretty bad.
Right, you were in the field and observed it. Yeah, I'll talk to Mike about that. I'll make sure that's part of the review in the field. And I do think a lot of the striping and implementations were not done before they walked into the board last month for their forgiveness application, as we couched it. So it may remedy itself, but either way, we'll make sure there's eyes on it in the field.
Perfect, thank you.
Frank, if you said it, I apologize. I didn't note it in my head. You said you were there?
I don't.
I mean, are we talking about yesterday, a week ago?
Probably.
Ballpark.
I could tell you.
Sure.
Because I did snap a picture, just to kind of remind myself, to be honest with you.
I mean, Larry, just so we have it on the record, okay?
Absolutely. And what we could do is I could amend this resolution. We could defer adoption if you want to the next meeting. I mean, they're built in the field right now, these guys. It's not like they're waiting for our approval to go and pull permits.
So I took a photo Friday, May 2nd at 7:40 PM.
So what days? 14, so 12 days ago. Almost 2 weeks, probably be 2 weeks. Council, I look to you for, look, it's already built, I get it, okay, but it was something that, and I have to, I have to be honest with you, I don't remember all of the exact, not for what we just did.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact thing when we did this, how many years ago? Okay, but, Council, I'm gonna have to, I think we could still vote the resolution.
Yeah. I think so.
But do we condition it at all?
No, I mean, if we're gonna adopt it tonight as is, it ends up reconciling itself with the field reviews, because if there is a conflict in the field, it can't be permitted to continue because it would violate various sections of the code, even beyond zoning. It would be something that we're putting on Mike Vreeland's radar in any event, so he can confirm it's not an issue in the field once they implement the balance of their site work. So if the resolution is adopted tonight, I think it's baked in enough where they've got to comply with the terms of that prior approval, the current site plan, none of which designates parking in that area necessarily, but it could remain, to Frank's point, nobody's looking to jam up the operator and the owner. But if there's an actual conflict in the field, when there's a site review out there after the striping is in place, then it's going to have to be relocated. So it essentially works itself out in the field down the road.
Okay,
Yeah, we just don't want something to happen and then,
I agree. And then it comes to us.
someone's doing a police report or someone's doing a report, they're like, you're not supposed to park here anyway.
Yeah, and then it comes back on us that we didn't do our, I'm always worried about, if we do our due diligence too. Okay. So, having said that, any other discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, motion to, accept the resolution with everything the council gave to us just now?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you.
Who made the second? Board Member Wolzala,
Yes.
Board Member Petrino.
Yes.
Board Member Dallo,
Yes.
Chairman Sirico.
Yes.
Board Member Butler.
Yes.
Moving on to the next resolution. It's resolution number 25-18, Joseph and Jennifer Kim, 124 Elbrook Drive, block 101, lot 11. The application is for renovation in addition to an existing single-family residence. There were some updated plans that we had seen the other night. There were some questions. I think that this has been, it's obviously been resolved because we're in a resolution. Council?
Yes, sir. So this was essentially a second-story addition to a single-family residence, including accessory improvements, deck, patio, and related alterations. The applicant required multiple bulk variances for front yard setback, lot width, and side yard setback. The applicant appeared at two separate public hearings, April 6th and April 21st, before the board. It included plan revisions between the first and second hearing, as well as offered plan revisions made at that second hearing, which were then submitted post-vote by the board and pre-adoption this evening. The conditions of approval that were offered and worked their way into the resolution of approval included incorporation by way of reference, Mr. Vreeland's April 16, 2025 report. It included the requirement of the applicant to submit and address stormwater management and drainage controls on the property to the satisfaction of the board engineer, which included enhanced stormwater management tributary to the right side of the dwelling through installation of a dry well or other mechanism as deemed necessary by the board engineer. That was the larger discussion on that one related to stormwater management. The other issue related to the front yard setback issue, the aesthetics and the massing of the structure in the front, and that's what necessitated the plan amendments going into the approval. So as a condition of the approval, that the plan amendments are to be consistent with the May 6, 2025 sheets submitted by the project architect. The sheets are identified in the resolution, and it remains subject to the final review and approval of the board staff for consistency with the concessions made during the course of the public hearing relative to the reduction of the front steps, reduction of the solid material, the brick massing, and the other related areas around the front landing. I think the applicant has done that, but I don't vote, I don't pass judgment. So the applicant's going to have to reconcile that their concessions made before the board is consistent with that May 6, 2025 drawing, and that is a condition of their approval. The applicant was also required to add a buffer of landscaping to the right side of the property. It's all subject to review of the board engineer. They have to investigate the potable water and sanitary sewer connections which service the property, requiring repair and replacement as may be necessary. The applicant also is required to install a shade tree on the property and will require to undertake all reasonable efforts to avoid compromising the loss of the existing tree, which is located in the area of the approved improvements that was part of the discussion of the board. The balance were all relatively standard conditions of the approval, Mr. Chair and members.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any discussion on it? All right. Seeing no discussion, can I have a motion to approve the resolution, please? Motion. Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Board Member Wolzala,
Yes.
Board Member Petrino,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino.
Yes.
Board Member Dallo,
Yes.
Chairman Sirico,
Yes.
Board Member Butler.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Resolution number 25-19. The applicant is Rick Goldberg and Lauren Paterno, 118 Greenway, Block 801, Lot 39. The application is the addition and renovation to a single-family home with a side yard setback 270-64A, parentheses 2. Council?
Another application for an addition to a single-family residential dwelling. The applicant required relief for deficient lot area as well as deficient side yard setbacks when applying the gross building floor area enhancements to the project. Relatively straightforward and standard application. There wasn't all that much discussion. It was a pretty clean project, so to speak. The conditions of approval beyond those that are standard related to incorporation of Mr. Reeland's April 18th, 2025 report, specifically noting the applicant is going to be required to submit a soil movement permit and plot plan application to the borough. An as-built plan will be required post build-out. The applicant was also required to address site grading and stormwater management issues sort of generically to the satisfaction of the board engineer. And like the prior application, there was some discussion as to the infrastructure, and the applicant was required to investigate the potable water and sanitary sewer connections which service the single-family residential dwelling, requiring repair and replacement as may be necessary for purposes of the addition and the continued use of the house as a single-family residential dwelling. Beyond that, relatively standard conditions, Mr. Chair and members.
Thank you. Any discussion by the board on the resolution as written and heard? Okay, seeing none. May I have a motion to approve the resolution, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Who was
Second.
that?
Tyler.
Tyler.
Thank
Second?
you.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't hear.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
thank you.
Sorry.
Board Member Wolzala,
Yes.
Board Member Petrino,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Board Member Dallo,
Yes.
Chairman Sirico,
Yes.
Board Member Butler.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to change things for a second, council, if that's okay.
Of course.
All right. Mr. Yakarino,
Yes.
the floor is yours. Tell us what's going on, please.
See, I could have moved over there.
There you go. Tell us what's going on.
So as
Thank you,
far
sir.
as the borough is concerned, there's really, other than the normal ebbs and flows day to day, not too much is happening. My committee, Facilities, Parks and Recreation, getting ready for Crestwood, so working hand in hand with the DPW. As I reported the last time that I was here, the concession stand is very much near completion. If you've been through Crestwood, it's really come along very nicely. And if you have a chance to walk up through there or drive through there, It really came out quite nice. Yeah, we're making a couple more revisions and ultimately to do some landscaping and sprucing up of the area. We know that the mayor is very good with that aspect of things, and I've deferred the choice of plants and colors and things to the mayor on that. Other than that, we worked with the Allendale Recreation Commission. We recently did a full end-to-end renovation of Field 3. We're going to be doing some more field maintenance throughout the town. So we really have a lot of things going on, a lot of positive things, a lot of improvements. Again, working with the Recreation Commission, DPW, and associated entities. So from that respect, all's well in Facilities, Parks, and Recreation. Looking forward to Crestwood. The mural, I don't know if the mayor touched on it the last time she was here. We're anticipating midsummer for the mural to be going up, so stay tuned for that. And other than that, I think I'll leave it there. But nothing too exciting, just day to day.
Okay. Is there any other input from the board? Okay. Next month. Linda, can you we started to talk about Ed Snikes's presentation next month.
Ed changed his requested date to June 18th. We have one application on for that night already, but I think we could do both of them on the 18th.
That's the Wednesday night.
That's a Wednesday night.
Okay. So, does anybody want to discuss the 18th, as in the timing of the meeting?
Yeah.
Go-
Yeah, I mean, well,
No, meeting is the holiday. I wasn't clear, but meeting where it is relative to the time of month with other activities going on.
yeah, I mean, there's a chance I may not be able to make it just because it's the last day of school. There's a lot going on that night. The 16th, I should be okay.
I think that Monday I won't be here, but the 18th I should be here.
And the 16th is.
We
So
don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know yet. But we had originally spoke about Ed Snikes meeting on the 16th, but now it appears that it's going to be the 18th. And I just want to be sure, because I'm being sensitive to everybody with children in the schools, et cetera, and of course the public, that we're not going to have, again, an attendance issue out of fairness to the people on board. So that's why I'm asking the question now. So, any other questions or comments? Because then that would leave Monday night, the 16th, to not have a meeting. Okay?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. So originally, because the other night when we were here, Ed was going to present on Monday night, but now he's asking to move it to Wednesday night.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, worst case, can we visit a product and move it to
No, this has to get done before. This has to be done by the end of June.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
This has to be done before the end of
There
June.
was a scribble noted that the Allendale Health Care. Okay, I was, go for it. That's it.
So, council, are you okay with the 18th?
June 18th is fine for me in a sense, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be in North Carolina for a few days, including that day, but I can certainly be available via this format if that's acceptable to you. And I can have someone physically there in my stead as well, if as an alternative. But yes, June 18th, I am available one way or another.
Okay. We'll all see that report from Ed prior to this. And I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to review it as well.
Certainly, and I'll speak to Ed as needed, but we'll have time for that once he distributes it.
Okay.
So, once the report's, I guess, presented by Ed, at that time, our action is to vote
to adapt.
to adopt it. But
Or
it still has to go,
adopt,
it still has to go before our mayor council, correct?
Larry, would you care to talk to that, please?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we review it from a consistency review standpoint. We make a motion to adopt it. It's a public hearing, so it's not too dissimilar from the hearing we had Monday night on the public presentation of the housing element, the hazard review study rather, and the public will have a chance to ask questions, comment. The board will make a motion. We'll prepare a resolution that'll go back to the governing body at that point.
Okay.
And that formal action is it's under a time constraint because of the state, of course. So that's why Ed is under the gun, so to speak, to get it in and reviewed and approved at the varied municipal levels.
Here, this has to go. Which
I think that meeting.
that meeting is probably,
That's,
June- Tyler, when's that?
June 12th.
What day?
June
we'd-
12th.
we'd have to meet.
So hold on. So there's the meeting on the 12th. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the calendar. So it'd be the 12th and
Isn't there one after that?
yes, that's what I'm looking
Okay,
at.
the 14th to
The
26th.
26th.
Okay, so.
We have
we'll-
to talk
have-
about it that week, so they can.
Mhm. So that's where we're at right now with that. And then that'll bring all the work that Ed has done and he's been looking for our guidance on. That'll bring it all to fruition. Okay. All right. Let's get to council, I'm getting to the agenda items, just so you're following along.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So on our agenda for tonight is a public hearing. It's application file number 2024-04, the Allendale Rehabilitation and Healthcare, 85 Harrington Road, Allendale, Block 601, Lot 7. The application is a continuance where they have come before the board to request constructing an 8,541 square foot addition to a non-conforming assisted living and skilled nursing home. We've seen, this has been before us a few times. We've seen this come through a few times. But council, I'm going to defer to you, please.
Certainly. So the applicant was going to appear this evening. They noticed for this public hearing, the applicant was advised that there would be less than 7 available board members appearing this evening. And in light of the fact that the applicant needs D use variance relief, they would require a supermajority vote of the board for an approval, a minimum 5 of 7 eligible members. The applicant is not required to proceed at their peril with anything less than a fully constituted board. So the applicant decided to not continue this evening, to seek to carry the date to a new date certain so that they could, one, carry and preserve their notice, obviating the need for further public notice on the application, and also intends to conclude at that next public hearing when they do appear, realizing they might be short a board member or two because of scheduling or other quorum-related issues at a next public meeting. They understand that, they accept that, but for purposes of tonight, the board is going on the record to make the announcement of that carry to a new date certain for the applicant when they might very well appear, when they will presently intend to appear, and anyone that's in the public this evening, this will be your one and only notice being received of the new date of that board. I would recommend that you stay in touch with Linda's office as you get close to that new meeting date. Check the agenda, check the website. While it's not the onus of the borough to make you aware of when a hearing is or is not occurring, it is the applicant's obligation per state law. You might be able to glean if and when the applicant is going to adjourn again through discussions with the borough, although it's not binding upon the borough when they give you that guidance. It's really just information. It's not something to be relied upon, but it's something that you should probably track as a member of the public moving forward because you will not receive any further notice beyond tonight. And Linda, I know there was some correspondence with Mr. Rubin earlier today. That date, as of right now, they're going to be carried to the June public hearing date, I believe, yes?
It's the Monday, meeting of June 16th.
Okay.
Okay. Council, that meeting, just for clarity, since this was already started in 2024, and those meetings began at 7:30, and our meetings now start at 7. What do we do?
We can commence at 7 p.m. because the announcement made tonight is when that hearing is going to be continuing. So the announcement of the board tonight could very well be June 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. At
Okay,
this point, that supplants the applicant's notice, which was for 7:30 p.m. this evening.
okay, okay. All right, so that's the notice as you pointed out.
And just so the board knows and the public, I was informed by the applicant that the operator witness, who is one of two remaining witnesses to testify, they intend to recall their civil engineer and their operator as of now. The operator has been ill and somewhat unreachable. So the applicant's attorney was uncertain as to whether they would even be ready that evening. They were going to appear tonight with an alternate operational witness, which I think their goal was to appear with the first witness that testified on behalf of their application. So it's somewhat in limbo on their end as well now, too, from what I understand.
So if I'm hearing this right, there's a possibility that the 16th of June may not occur. Did I hear you say that properly?
Yes, yeah. The applicant is going to try to honor that date. That's the date they wanted. They wanted first available. But there were some issues with their operational witness having, what I was told was a medical issue that's been unreachable. So that's one of their two intended witnesses. They might bring an alternate witness, but as of right now, one of their two witnesses has been difficult to ready for a hearing.
Okay, okay. Um, um, just, Counsel, if you could just say one last thing here. We have, in fairness to the public, there are two members of the public here. Okay, and I can certainly say, just in case, the public isn't aware of this, but I can certainly say that if I'm sitting there and I look up at the dais and I see 7 or 8 people sitting here,
Mhm.
and the fact that we don't have enough people, all the things that you had said earlier here explaining what was going on, would you just comment as to why, Mr. Yacarino can't?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as of right now, the public looking at the dais sees 8 folks up there, 2 of which are not eligible members, those 2 being on the corners, far left, Councilman Yacarino, and on the far right, Linda. Those are non-voting members on this application. Linda does not vote and take action on any application. And the council members, as well as the mayor, are not eligible classes of members to vote on a D use variance application. This applicant requires a use variance pursuant to NJSA 4055D 70D for use variance relief. And under the state statute, there's a preclusion of certain classes of members from voting on those. That includes elected officials. So right now on the dais, although 8 people are sitting up there, there are only 6 eligible members when a zoning board fully constituted is comprised of 7 members. And that is what the applicant is hoping for in order to conclude their case, which is candidly standard practice as an applicant's representative. It's something I would do as well.
Thank you, sir. So, members, any questions, comments? Okay, the 16th of June. All right. Larry, out of fairness, I am going to just open it quickly to the public to see if they have any questions based on what you just said, if I'm allowed to do that.
You certainly are.
Okay. So I open it. If there's any questions, please, the public, come up, state your name. Any clarity, anything? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, I bring it back to the board. Any other discussion? Okay, so that ends that application for tonight. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Next on our agenda is, there's no more public hearings, so the next on the agenda is to open the meeting to the public for any comment, not necessarily on anything, but any other matters that may come before the board. Okay, yeah? Oh, okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you for coming. Okay. Seeing none, I bring it back to the board. Any other business? Oh, yeah, please do.
Quick question later. We'll get
Larry, counsel, we all got this?
Yes.
Okay, does Larry have this?
I had it in front of him tonight. I will give it to him. He might have it already, though. Did I send you the, police count for the Allendale senior? The police, it's from a while ago. When is that email dated? It's a while ago. Oh, here.
So
I do
Okay.
have that. Yeah.
you
from-
have this,
that was from
Council-
quite a while
Council, you have this
Yeah.
document?
I do. Yeah, I do. I had it
So
ready for
before-
tonight in my file, actually. Yes.
Apologies, sir. Before we go any further, there's nobody here. And if Mr. Petrino and possibly others on the board have a question with what was given to us, are we at liberty to discuss that now?
No, we're really not at this point. The matter's closed to the public this evening. There could be non-quorum dialogue amongst board members, anything that doesn't constitute an open public hearing, but the matter was closed on the Allendale Senior Living Project, so there really can't be any discussion on it as of right now. And the applicant's also not present in the room. I'm sure he would object if he were. We could have non-substantive dialogue, but really can't delve into the substance of that email that was distributed on behalf of the police department.
And there's no reason to go into executive. Closed session.
We could. We can go into closed session anytime we're discussing anything that involves prospective, actual, or threatened litigation. We could take the board into closed session if you desire.
Do
We would
you
go
feel, in your opinion, sir, does this rise to that level? I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know what the question is going to be, relative to the report. We can go into closed session. I know there's a few matters the board has to discuss. It goes beyond any pending application. So if there's a question, we can certainly go off the record and go into a closed session.
Frank, I leave it. I know you have a question. I know you're gonna.
It
Which
really,
one, I could ask to request to go into closed.
it could wait, and I just wanted to,
My opinion on the matter is that you wait until the next meeting.
Fair enough. Okay.
it could wait.
Any other discussion from the board then? Okay. All right, council, you're comfortable with that then. So we are not going into closed. We will worry about discussing this when the matter comes to be.
Very good.
Okay. All right. Having said that, there any other business? Any other comments? Okay, motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. See you next month. Meeting minutes will come out. Larry, thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, be safe.
Thanks.